So I often cover in the channel videos of people fighting, but I've never done this before, actual professional fighters. And I was thinking, man, there's a lot to learn from here that you can adapt to street fighting. In fact, why would you bother trying to learn from people that are brawling with no idea whatsoever instead of learning from people that are professional fighters? And yes, this is a sport, kind of a sport. This is more like prize fighting. These are two guys trying to hurt each other for money. They're putting up a show, and at the end of the day, it's not so much a sport. Yeah, there are certain rules, but it's still two guys trying to knock each other out. So let's get to this and see what we can learn from the fight. This is UFC. This is Josh Emmett and Ilya Topuria, who are, well, some of the best fighters. I think Josh Emmett was ranked number 5. He just got defeated by Topuria, and I cannot actually play like the video, but I can borrow a little bit of the still images. So you have two guys that are some of the best fighters in the planet, and yes, there are certain rules, there are some things in UFC. It is quite lax, and here one of the first lessons, one of the first important things for you to keep in mind is, oh, but in a street fight I would just kick someone in the balls. Okay, if that is your position, if you think that just kicking someone in the balls is going to be allowing you to win any fight against any somewhat skilled fighter, you are delusional, and you've fallen for some of the most basic little gimmicks of defensive fighting classes. Yeah, you just kick someone in the balls. It is not easy to kick someone in the balls. People don't just stay still in front of you for you to just go and kick them in the balls. Oh, I would do this. I would just grab poke your finger, your eye. Oh, yeah, you can do that. It's not as easy when someone is actually trying to rip your head off. So all of these things of kicking people in the nuts or eye gouge or fish, you can't do these things. I mean, I've actually incorporated some of these things to some extent in trying to learn and practice and teach. Especially when doing some of these things with my oldest son, which he's already at that age. Yeah, you kind of make him see that, yes, someone can put a finger in your mouth and start pulling, and that will rip your face off. Yes, it does. It can be done. Is that gonna be leveling the playing field against someone that's a trained fighter like this dude that you see here? Of course not. You'll get knocked to pieces if you try to just get by with little tricks like that. Okay, headbutting, yeah, sure, you can do that, and even boxers headbutt one another all the time. So you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to go for rabbit punches. They still do that. But you're not going to compensate for the lack of skill, the lack of training, and especially when that gap is important, all right? So Ilya Topuria, super fit, super skilled guy. It was predicted that he was a strong favorite for this. But you're looking, and it was interesting that he seems to be very religious, always doing the sign of the cross several times for a 26-year-old guy. That's not always all that common. Anyway, and here we have Josh Emmett, who is a 36-year-old, super tough guy. And here's a good example of just being tough is not enough to win fights. You can be the toughest guy there is. If the skill is just not there, it will only get you so far. So, as rugged as he is, yeah, of course, skill too, but not compared to his opponent. And what you see, and you see this in boxing as well, someone that is just very, very tough and has a heavy hand, someone that can knock you out with just one punch. Both of these guys can definitely do that, but he is super heavy-handed. Josh Emmett is very heavy-handed, and that was basically his game plan, all right? And there it goes. Lots of respect for both of these guys. Anyone that walks into a cage so as to put up a show at the expense of his own health, well, I mean, not everyone is willing to do that. Personally, I wouldn't do that myself. Wouldn't want any loved one of mine to do it. But I respect the dedication of these two guys. So here you already see some of the things that I want to share with you guys in terms of doing things right. You see that Topuria, whenever he gets close, what he starts doing is what you see there. And it works effectively. I mean, I'm randomly clicking on stuff at this point because I know that he just keeps his hands up. number one rule of fighting in a cage or in the street is keep your damn hands up. And you notice that he does that all the time. He does this and he does this. He does this and he does this. Sometimes he opens, even starts to cover even more. Why? Because the guy is heavy-handed. The guy throws that overhand right with super efficiency, and if you get caught by that, it may be game over, right? But just being smart. This is stuff that I've described in Street Survival Skills, in my latest book regarding preparedness and how to defend yourself. Just doing this avoids, man, 90% of the knockouts that you see in street fights. If people had done this, they would have stopped that. It is very rarely that someone comes with a super stiff jab right in the middle. It's not all that common. Not all that common, but guess what this dude over here does? Fucking stiff jab right in the middle to the face. That's by how he basically won the fight. So, what I'm trying to show you guys here is, you have a brawler, you have one of the toughest guys in the planet, right? Josh Emmett. Tough as a damn rock, hits super hard, but the other guy is just more skillful. Oh, but in the street fight, it would have been the same damn thing. This is UFC, this is not boxing, so you saw a little bit of leg kicking, you saw some grappling, which I'm a little bit surprised that Topuria didn't go straight for just putting the guy in the floor. He almost got the got the fight stopped in round 3 by going to the floor and just beating, ground and pounding on him. But, the clock caught up with him and saved Emmett at that point, but insisting on this. Hands up, covering, hands up, covering. And you see that when he moves, he does this very well, and he does the other thing very well, which is foot movement. He just hops, super agile, 26-year-olds, great IQ, fighting IQ. So he just gets close, a couple steps back, he just gets out of range. The other guy is slower, he's older. Yeah, you're tough, you're strong, but if you're slow, you're just still screwed. So he just does this, moves back, goes forward against jab, jab, goes back again. Couple hops backwards, rolling the shoulder a little bit there. But he does, and when he does this, you see how he's now dropping the hands. Now, but when he goes with an engagement range, his hands go up. Sometimes you see his corner yell at him, keep your damn hands up, and he goes back and remember. Oh yeah, because it's something very natural, especially if you start getting a little bit more comfortable with how you're fighting and how good you're doing against your opposition, is you get cocky and you get lazy, because keeping your hands up gets you tired. But it's also like you feel like, yeah, I'm here. No, go back to this position. And he does that all the time. Super disciplined fighter here in Topuria. So you see, who drops the hands even more? You see what I mean? The guy is intending a brawling, and one of the most terrible pieces of advice comes actually from the Emmett corner. A guy telling him, punch over that lazy jab. Lazy jab. Okay, dude, what the hell are you doing advising a professional fighter if that's the stupid shit you have to say? There is not. Emmett threw several good kicks. I think he would have been more effective if he had thrown more of those. But he got kicked several times. And by round 2, Emmett's head was that hand just going straight to his face. By round number 2, his face was falling apart. So you still see the hands up, hands getting to that position, hands down. You see this all the time. It is super common. It's just one of the, I'm just tough. Okay, you can be super tough. You see the face getting red, hands up, hands down a little bit there as well. But you see how effective the guy was with that jab. And the face of Emmett starts falling apart as we keep on advancing. Man, it was pretty brutal at times. I wish. And what you see here is the effect of boom, 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 boom. So imagine this. Who's winning the fight? Topuria's win. It was an unanimous decision, right? But, he's not getting into the pocket. Why would I start getting into the pocket with a guy that has such a knockout power, such a heavy hand, if I'm being effective with my jab? Think of it like this way. Imagine you're a miner going against a rock. You're mining, right? You're mining and the rock says, you don't have the balls to hit me with your face. No, you dumb fucking fool. I'm using a pickaxe to chip you away. That jab is a pickaxe of the miner. That is boom, 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 boom. He's rolling, he's covering, boom, boom, boom. And he does this all night long. Now, if this goes on, the guy ends up with literally his face falling apart. You don't need to start hitting the rock with your face when you're using the pickaxe, which is your jab, which is not the twice. This guy said twice, lazy jab. That's what a lazy jab does to a human's face, especially when it's a lazy jab as heavy-handed as the one of Topuria, but he goes, covers. Your overhand knockout punch, it's just not being effective. So why would you start trading, blow for blow when I'm just ripping your face apart, picking you apart with my jab? And this is, again, professional fighters, a guy that is, this reminds me of, dude, what was this guy? Damn, there was a fight between, cannot remember the name, but a fighter, a boxer that was super rugged. He had a face, and he fought Matisse at some point, and he had fought another guy that turned out to be a doctor later. Or I think he had a medical degree already when fighting. But again, a super durable boxer that went forward all the time, and the guy fighting on his back foot, just jabbing, and just ripping apart the face of the tougher guy, of the more durable guy, right? It just makes no sense to expose yourself in that way. So, and there you see exactly what I'm saying. When you bring your hands up like that, there's really not a whole lot. You need that super stiff jab right in the center, or maybe an uppercut, or catching him with a hook. But just bringing your hands up puts you in so much of an advantage. And these are professional fighters. Imagine against the average person on the street, just bringing the hands up, and there he goes. He goes down. He keeps on going with I think it would have been more effective to just take him down and not. But maybe one of these things of displaying a little bit of your skill, trying to beat the guy in boxing, which, it was super entertaining to watch. I mean, it sucks for Josh Emmett because he definitely, he put so much of his own health in entertaining people for a while, but very, very telling. The idea of learning how to grapple, how to go to the back of the guy's, winning his back and going for that rear naked choke. He was I think it was round 2 or 3, he was just this close to getting a rear naked choke on him. That would have stopped the fight right there and then, and would have been maybe even better for Emmett. But man, I guess he went out on his shield for this one. I don't think he's going to be fighting much more, given his age and how much how much damage he takes in these fights. But the point is this: just learning the basics and being good at that. For what I do here on the channel in terms of learning how to fight properly, if you ever need to do that. You're not going to go into a damn cage and fight. Maybe that's not your thing, or it is. I have no idea. But for the intended purposes of the channel, simple stuff works. And simple stuff works even at an elite level. And yeah, of course, when you are these guys, the speed advantage, the training, the skill that you have, the speed advantage, the ring IQ that you bring in, all of that matters. But at the end of the day, is you beating the guy on these basic things that you just do it better, quicker than the other guy. That was basically giving you the W. That's what gives you the win. And I think that many of these things translate also to what could eventually happen in a street fight. Keep it simple. Learn a little bit of this. Boxing is one of those tricky things. It's one of those things where some people are willing to put their health. There's no if. It's not a matter of if. If you start boxing for real and you go into amateur boxing and let alone you get into professional boxing, you are giving up your brain cells in exchange for the skill that you will develop through time, the more you train. How much of that are you willing to trade? How much is it a couple years of being serious in terms of training, boxing, sparring? sparring, sure, that's really up to you. I like the idea of maybe the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing, Judo thing, with a little bit of striking, and not so much risking, or not even risking, as I was saying before. It is not an if, it is it will happen. You will start losing brain cells, and you will start taking brain damage the more you get kicked or punched in the face. It's just incremental. It just keeps on happening. It's even in light sparring. Sparring, especially when guys are a bit more serious about it, nothing is really all that light. And any impact to the head makes your brain rattle in your skull. So, guys, that's basically it. Just a few lessons here about how even when you're looking at some of the top elite fighters in the world, they still use the same basic concepts that have been time proven over the years. See you on our next video. Take care.